This series of drawings represents wine bottles painted in 4 different art styles: Realism, Impressionism, Cubism, and Surrealism.
The realism and hyperrealism art style values truthfulness in representation.
French painter Gustave Courbet is one of the most notable realist painters of the 19th century.
A lot of realism focuses on everyday life of people.
This idea is represented in Courbet's painting The Stonebreakers.
In the first drawing, the shape of the bottle, the reflections, and the lighting were important considerations for the overall realism drawing.
Impressionism became popular in Italy and then in France during the 1870s and 1880s. Artists would paint en plein air. This means they would draw outside. They often used their first impression of the environment to create their paintings.
Artists would use smaller brushstrokes that represent the light in a different way. The goal of Impressionism was not to paint as realistically as possible.
In the second wine painting, we use looser brushstrokes to represent the light source.
Cubism became popular in the early 20th century, right before World War I. Picasso and Braque used distortion and abstraction to portray ideas in non-realistic ways. This art movement followed the Fauvism art movement, where artists would use bright colors and loose brushstrokes.
In Cubism, artists would use a wider range of colors and fragment their art pieces to represent figures.
The Cubist art movement largely represented the chaotic nature of the early 20th century.
This is seen in Picasso's painting Guernica.
In our third painting, we use sharper edges, brighter colors, and more fragmented shapes.
Surrealism developed after World War I.
Surrealist artists include André Breton, Max Ernst, and Salvador Dali. The distortion in the Surrealist movement was different than the Cubist movement.
Artists depicted many irrational scenes and studied the unconscious mind.
This final drawing is a mix between a little bit of Cubism and a little bit of Surrealism.